So in three, and there we are. We have started the the podcast, the webinar, the live. We are here. I am proud, so proud to be introducing the very, very first guest of the Free to Fly online conference and fashion show. It's sponsored by the Freebird Project Shop. You can find us at thefreebirdprojectshop.com, where you will find so many fashions that the modern hippie mama will want to wear. And we have our first guest up is Barbz Iuliano, and I always mess up her name, but she is just beautiful, and we know her as Barbz. BARBZ is how I remember her. She's the Barb with the Z, and she has really impressed me with her knowledge and with her experience and with the way that she approaches confidence. She is a confidence coach for Starland Coaching, and she is our first guest, and it's going to be all about confidence, because who doesn't need a little bit of that? This is Barb. Take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. I always love having conversations with you. It's always an amazing experience. So like you mentioned, my name's Barbz Iuliano, and it's Barbz with a Z, just like Patricia with a Y. And I'm a business confidence coach for new coaches. I help women start their coaching business from the ground up. But before I did that, I really focused on helping women get confidence overall. And the reason is because I do believe that confidence is absolutely everything in life. So yes, there are different areas. You have friends, you have family, you have business, you have studies. But if you don't work on your inner part, if you don't work on your confidence, you are going to end up in really bad situations. And I know we talked about this in the past in Triumphant Tales, but it can definitely lead to making the wrong decisions because you don't value yourself and you don't believe in yourself. So I'm super passionate about what I do, and I'm so happy to be here and get into deep conversations like we always do.
Absolutely. And the deep conversations that Barbz is talking about is that I do have a podcast called Triumphant Tales, and it is very much for the toxic abuse relationship survivor. I call it TAR. We call it TAR around there at patricia.com and at triumphanttales.com, where I have my podcast. And Barbz was one of my very first guests, where she also talked about confidence. And that's where I got the idea. Well, I knew that I had to have her as part of the Free to Fly conference. And she was more than willing, because of course, like she says, we get into some deep conversations about confidence, because it is so vital to not just survivors, but to everyone out there. Boy, woman, man, child, we all need that confidence to make those next steps and get out of our comfort zone. So in your opinion, what is it that we really need to boost our confidence?
Ooh.
Or I guess the question is, what do you do to boost your confidence?
Okay, so actually I can answer them both. So what we really need is the will. Like, we need to make a decision that this is what we want, that this is what we're moving towards. Because if you're not aware that this is going to be a part of your life and this is going to be the work that you'll be doing, then you're just going to go through life and kind of like coast, right? So that's for what you need. And what I do is a ton of things, but I start really, really, really simple. So for example, I have a morning routine that's my non-negotiable routine. And this only takes me 5 to 10 minutes. I do this every single morning, no matter what, because I know it's only 5 minutes. And if I have more time, I scale up. So the way you develop something like this is, first, you got to understand what are the thoughts and the beliefs that are making you not confident, right? So what do you think and believe about yourself? Are you not good enough? Are you too ugly to do certain things? Are you not smart enough to apply for a certain school? So what are the things that are in your mind that are making you feel unconfident at the present moment? Once you realize what that is, what I want you to do is kind of like give your beliefs a personality, because I know that this is what's in your mind. I know that we all struggle with it at certain times. And this is like a lifelong journey. You're always going to work in confidence. It's not like one thing, like you do one thing and then that's it. You're confident for the rest of your life. It's actually, you do this for the rest of your life because you have ups and downs and good days and bad days. But so once you understand what it is that's holding you back, that's making you feel unworthy, that's making you feel like you're not capable, then bring it into life. And you do this by writing down all those beliefs that I just told you, to get out of your mind. And you create a little monster, because that's what they are. They're a little monster in your mind. And they're always telling you these things like you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you don't deserve this. So I even tell my clients, like, draw him out, give him a name, like make him come to life, because he is so alive in your mind that he should be honored that way. That way you can respond to those thoughts. And once you do that, and you know what this little monster is telling you, and you know where it's coming, and you know what he's telling you, I want you to figure out where those things came from. Because most of the times we believe things, but it wasn't initially ourselves who believed it. Like if we think when we were children, we didn't think like that. We didn't think like, I can't do this. We actually used to think like, I can do anything. I'm going to be an astronaut and a teacher and this and that. And then you hear a parent or a teacher or a friend who called you fat or something like that. And then those things stick to your mind. So they don't originally stem from you. So bring them to life. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to say that that was a very important little lesson you made. It seemed really funny or odd to be doing like this preschool type thing and drawing him out and giving him a name. But we did that for the video confidence session that you had run through your group. And I remember going, oh, this is kind of silly, but okay, if Barb's told me to do that, I'll do it. And it really did help to give that a personality. And I know that I was talking recently on Triumphant Tales with Jeannie Mufasa. I probably messed up her name, but she wrote a book called Hilda, and she gave that character in her mind a name and personality. And hers is Hilda, and yours is Little Monsters. And we had that experience of doing that Little Monsters, and it really did work. So I just want to advise those viewers out there who are thinking, oh, that's a little weird. It really works to help work through that. And sometimes it's the silly things that make the most progress in you, because we got to remember that we're dealing with a lot of feelings that were developed during our childhood. So doing childish things can help bring them to the surface. So my next question for you is, I just love your attitude about confidence and saying that it comes before everything else. Can you tell me a little bit about why you think it becomes? Because I think that's an important business. It goes before friends, family, business, hobbies. What's so important about confidence before all those things? Can't we get those things through those things?
Yeah, well, anyone can have friends. Anyone can have relationships. Anyone can have jobs. Anyone can have their own business. But what happens when we have all these things and we are not confident? So let's give an example. If you have friends and you're not confident, oftentimes you compare yourself, or you feel bad, or you feel lower, and you don't have a good experience in that area of your life. Let's say you have a job and you're not confident, then you're likely not to apply for that raise. You're likely not to move up. You're likely not to step out of your comfort zone or speak up, right? Or let's say you have a relationship and you're not confident and you don't work on your confidence. You may allow the other individual to step all over you because you don't have that strong belief in yourself. So I do believe that it goes before anything else, because everything else could happen. But when it happens and you don't believe in yourself, it oftentimes goes down the drain.
And that's been my experience too. But I love the way that you explain it. So, in the beginning, there's always that beginning where you haven't done internal work before, because internal work can be a little bit scary, and we are, especially those who have been through toxic abusive relationships, have been warned against doing that internal work. So what's an effective strategy to begin working on your mindset when we've never done this type of internal work before?
Okay, keep it simple. Like what you were saying before, like the drawing exercise is so simple and it's like what kindergarten kids do, but really keep it simple, because when you're getting into new habits and into new routines, it's really easy to get overwhelmed and want to do it all. So for example, let's say you want to get into exercising and you've never done it before. If you tell yourself you're going to run a marathon tomorrow, you are going to get overwhelmed and you're going to completely be stagnant on the progress. But if you tell yourself, okay, well, by the end of this month, I want to run 1 mile, and you break it down to really, really tiny steps, then it becomes easier and you can create habits faster in your life that stick for the long term. So just how I just told you, create your monster, think about what he's telling you, think about your negative beliefs. If you're just starting out, take 5 minutes in the morning and grab those beliefs and transform them, okay? So let's say you think, I'm not good enough. And okay, I'm not good enough, so I'm not going to start my own business. Transform that belief. I may not be good at bookkeeping or at being on podcasts or at website development yet, but this doesn't mean that I'm not good enough for my business. So transform it, because the truth is sometimes we're not experts in specific areas, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't create your worthiness around the fact that you're not good enough and make it seem like that's the actual situation. So if you transform it to what the actual truth is, which is, okay, I can't do certain things super good yet, but I will if I put the effort. But this doesn't mean that I can't do it at all. And every morning take 5 minutes to repeat those new beliefs to you and really rewire your mind to understand that what you thought before is no longer your truth.
That sounds awesome. Now, so, I mean, it's basic, back to basic, 5 minutes a day, taking that time to really get into it. Now, how hard is this going to be? I mean, for those who have not been into it and have not started on that internal journey, is it hard to start believing in yourself after years of self-sabotage?
It's not easy, but nothing in life that's worth it, it's ever easy, right? Because if it was easy, then everyone would do it and everyone would have it. So I go back to entrepreneurship a lot because I love what I do. But if having your own business was easy, everyone would have their own business. If having a healthy relationship was easy, everyone would have a healthy relationship. Same thing with confidence and inner work. If it was easy, and some people are just quote unquote born with it. Their family dynamics allow them to grow up confident or whatever, but that's not the case for most. So yes, it's going to be a step out of your comfort zone. So it may feel uncomfortable. But the thing is, every time you step out of that comfort zone and you start feeling uncomfortable, that's when you reach new possibilities in your life. Because if you're not feeling that uncomfortability, then you're staying in the same place, right? So it's not, it doesn't happen like this. And you have to go to places that you've never been before. For example, like realizing the negative thoughts that are in your mind. Like how many of us sit down and actually take the time to think, hey, what do I think about myself? And then actually write it down. Like that sometimes is uncomfortable because you come up with some things like, wow, I think really bad of myself. But once you do it and you transform it, then it's like, oh, this is good. And it gets better and better and better.
Absolutely. It is a process. It does not happen overnight. It is work, but it's work that's worth it. And as Barbz said, you know, nothing easy nothing worth it really comes easily. One of the modern problems that we have in society, as far as the way I see it, is that we do expect that there is an easy button. And much as I love Staples and the wonderful ladies that work there, I mean, I just love our local Staples manager. And so shout out to Paula if you're watching. But you know, as much as Staples does have that easy button, there is no easy button in real life, and there is no easy button towards confidence, but it's 5 minutes a day. It's not difficult. At the same time, it's not easy. It's getting into those habits and to keep up with those habits on the low days, because I find that it's easy to get caught up in a cycle of you're doing good, you're doing good, you're doing good, and you think that you can start sloughing off on those things. And then when you slough off on that 5 minutes a day, cut it back to 3, cut it out altogether, and soon you're having those same negative thoughts again because you haven't been fighting them. Yeah. So, Annie, and go into that, Barbz, I know that you have resources. I mean, and that's one of the things that we are really excited to be sharing through the Freebird Project is resources to things that can help in these areas, and yours being confidence. Do you have a good resource for the audience that will help them move to become a more confident self?
Yes. Actually, the process that I just walked you through, which is understand, like bring out your negative beliefs, bring out your negative thoughts, create your monster, and then do that morning routine where you replace your beliefs. I actually put it together in a workbook that you can fill it out and use on your day-to-day life. So you have less excuses not to do it in those slow days. And you can get that at starlandscoaching.com/get confidence. And you pretty much just download it, you fill it out right there on your computer, and you have it for the rest of your life. And you have a visual that you can change over and over again. Because like I said, this is work that you do forever. It doesn't stop. Let's say you get passed by a certain belief that makes you feel unworthy, that makes you feel unconfident. New ones are going to arise, right? New situations are going to arise. And you always have to be doing this work because, like you said, it's easy to sleep off and get off the wagon. And then we think like, oh, the wagon left, I can't get back on it. But in reality, it's just like, it's okay. I skip one day, I can hop back on. It's not a big deal, right?
Absolutely. And that persistence, that belief that, okay, if I keep doing this, I mean, so many of us are trapped in believing that we have to accept circumstances the way that they are. And we don't take the time to put together the tools and resources that are available out there in the world. They're not very difficult to put into practice, but it can be scary because of all those negative beliefs that we have in our heads. And that is the, what do they call that? I'm not sure that it's called ironic, or there's a word for that, but we just don't do what we are supposed to do. Do you have some thoughts behind that and why that is? Why do we go back to that self-sabotage and to that route? We block off, or don't move forward with what we think is going to be hard.
I think we get in our own minds. Like we think about it too much rather than just doing. Like I know, for example, exercise has been like a big roller coaster in my life. I know. But we get too much into our own minds, because I know that when I'm in the groove, when I'm in the flow, I just do it. I get up and I do it and it feels good. And then if you leave the flow for a second, then you start thinking, oh my God, I have to wake up. Oh my God, it's 10 minutes. And then I have to take a shower. And like you think about it so much and you're so stuck in your mind that you waste so much time just thinking about it and doing it, that's what really gets you off track. Obviously, there's more to it because it's sabotage. Sabotage can come from different ways. You can have negative family members. You can have energy vampires that really just put you down. There's so much that could be going on, but in reality, like, I think the root cause is that we think about it so much and we judge ourselves so much for not doing it that we end up not doing it for the long term.
And it is getting over that. That is one of those key steps in recovery and in leading a full life, is that in order to live that full life, you have to first believe that you can, and that can be a jumping stone or a roadblock for many of us, is simply believing that you can. I know that there are probably women out there who are thinking, well, how can I be confident? I've done so much wrong in my life, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation. And you're out there and you're thinking, there's no way I can get confident. And I want to reach out to you and say that, yes, you can. It is as simple as deciding that you are worth having confidence in yourself, and you are. Barbz, do you have any further insights into how we can help those around us to find their confidence? Because a lot of times we have enough confidence in ourselves, but we see our friends struggling with confidence. Is there something that you have for supporters that can help them to show their friends how to bring that confidence level up?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really frustrating when we have people around us that we love and they have that low belief about themselves. It's really frustrating and it's sad and it really hits us. But there are things you can do. However, there's something that you need to understand. And I say this as a coach. There are people who are not ready, and there are people who don't want the help. And that I don't want you to ever blame yourself for wanting to help someone who's not ready to get help. Because I know, especially with people that we love and that we open our hearts to, we want to help them, we want to change them, we want them to feel better. But if they're not ready and they don't make a decision to themselves, it's going to be hard to do so. So the best thing you can do is ask them questions that get them thinking. So when someone tells you do this, you're less likely to do it, rather than if you figure out by yourself that you need to do it, right? So if someone tells you you have to clean your room because cockroaches are going to come and it's disgusting, right? You're going to be like, yeah, okay. But if someone tells you like, hey, there's a hurricane coming, you know what happens when a hurricane comes, what do you think you can be doing? And you're like, you know what? I could clean my room because usually cockroaches come in my house when there's a hurricane. So you figure it out on your own, and you don't tell the person what to do. You ask them questions so they realize what they should be doing, right? So if someone is struggling with weight issues, instead of telling them like, you should be eating this, you should be eating that, you should be working out, ask them like, hey, what do you think you could be doing? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything I could support you with? Because this is more of an open conversation rather than a command. And people don't really like to be commanded. They like to be taken into consideration. And when they make their own decisions and when they realize that they could be doing this type of things, they're more likely to actually put in the work and make the changes in their life.
Absolutely good points. And I know that there were several points throughout my life. I've had friends that have come to me with self-help advice that I didn't listen to. And hey, I'm sorry. I got it now. I just want to apologize to the people that I ignored so many times, because we do get those opportunities throughout our life that different people with different lessons come to us, and sometimes it is just a matter of the way it is said. So don't give up on your friends, but do make it a conversation, and remember that it is not your fault if they don't take the path that you want them to. So now that we've gotten through those questions, I want to open it up to our other hosts here to see if they have any questions for Barbz. Do I see any nods or shaking of the heads? Sasha, Carol, Linda, do you have anything for Barbz to add to that? And remember that you're on mute, so unmute yourself if you're going to log in. Go ahead.
Yeah, y'all noticed that, my internet went out and so I've missed most of the conversation. However, I would love wisdom and pointers on building the confidence in my imaged 13 Hannah. How do I build her confidence as a child that has been through the domestic violence situation? Confidence. And even though I've been a mom of many and others, a foster mom and maternity home mom, I find myself grasping at straws as to how to best help her recover and regain her confidence.
Okay, so you were breaking up a little bit, so I just want to clarify that I heard the question right. So you're saying, how do I help my 13-year-old daughter Hannah build her confidence when she went through domestic abuse, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So my first question to you is, what's your relationship with her? Do you guys communicate, like, or is she closed off? Like, what's your relationship with her right now?
It's not a matter of us not being close, just feeling at a loss of tools than I've ever had to apply before. I feel like I'm telling her the same things and not seeing results. Understand what I'm saying to her. I just wanted to. I don't know if you heard that.
I heard part of it.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in because I've been trying to pick up on that. And I think that what you're saying, and I'm just going to answer before Barbz does on that one, but you've got to remember that she's 13, getting into the things that she's going through aren't necessarily because that she's been through the domestic violence situation. Some of it is just going to be because she's 13. And the one thing that I'd like to encourage you to do is to make sure that she has aunt figures in her life or other women that she can go to, because sometimes we just can't communicate with our moms directly. Barbz, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. And the fact that you mentioned having other figures in her life is super, super important. And one little thing I can add is always work on yourself, because no matter what, whether they show it or not, they're always looking and learning from you. So regardless of where you are right now or where she is right now, if you're constantly working on yourself and building your own confidence, she's going to take that into her life, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So that's something that you can be doing at the moment.
I have a question. Okay, so Barbz, you don't know this, but I have a 21-year-old who has just recently gone into recovery from addictions. And as most of us know, addictions go hand in hand usually with domestic violence as well. And, unfortunately my son grew up, partially in his most formative years watching me be abused. And so what I would like to know, he is in treatment right now. We finally got him in just recently. Yay.
Awesome.
And he's doing really well, but I know part of his recovery will be going into therapy and going into psychologists and talking to them about the underlying problem of why he chose drugs over, other things, right? Like, and helping him be able to deal with those situations. How can I support him more when dealing with this?
Okay, so what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to have Patricia answer first, because I know that she has more experience in the mother side. as she has kids. So I want to give the stage to you, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. Is that okay?
And, I don't know what to tell you that I haven't already told you in the years that we've come up to this. You know that you instilled in him whatever love and good lessons in him as he was growing up. It's come a time where he has to choose to make those right decisions. And whether he chooses right or left, you know that you can only love him through it. You can't give him the confidence, but you can, as she said with our friends, ask him the questions that lead him in the direction that he comes up with his answers. Because now he is an adult, it's his time to sort out what he can take. And you know that we live through our pain so that we can have a brighter message in our legacy for the future, and that I believe strongly that the lessons that we learned are meant to be lessons for the rest of the world. And so I'm thinking that all we can do with Brad is let him know that we love him, let him know that we believe in him, and let him know that he has a destiny too, and that if he listens to it, he will find it. And that's the only thing that we can do with our children once they've passed the age where we can really influence them on a daily level. Barbz?
I love that. I love that response. What I have to add to it is, you're probably going through a stage right now where you're really happy that this is happening, that he's finally going through this, but you're also a little bit afraid.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the danger here is that because you're afraid, you may push a little bit too much, because like, what happens if you grab your hand and you like push it really hard? You're going to like resist back and push back. So he is going through a lot too right now, through a lot of changes and transitions. So be there for him, lead by example. Like I mentioned before for Linda as well, is work on yourself, because they're always learning from you. Whether they say it or not, they're always learning from you. Think about how many things we learn from our parents that they didn't teach us, right? Mm-hmm. So work on yourself, do your own work, and support him. But don't push too much, because the more you push, the more he's going to push back. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, we went through something recently. Yesterday day before I went to go see him, he told me who he was hanging out with at the treatment center, and I just, the mom and me automatically said, okay, well, don't fall back into this. And he got so mad at me. He's like, you realize how much I have like pushed away from the drugs, and how many people, I quit talking to everybody. And, he's, he got really upset with me, and I didn't realize that I had not supported him. I didn't realize that I had hurt him, and I had to go back in and apologize and just say, you know what, I believe in you. I support you. I love you. You got this. And, he got over it, but he was really mad at me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that it goes back to what I just said, because you're afraid and you're showing those fears to him, when in reality, he's trying his best and he's going through something that he's never been through before. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's tough for him. You have to understand, it's tough for him. It's been a tough journey. So he wants to feel like you believe in him. He wants to feel like there's someone out there who has full faith,
Yeah. Well, and I think that ties into, just like I said, with domestic violence, right? Because, if we people too hard as well, then will that happen too? Like, will they start fighting back?
Can you repeat that question? It broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I think that ties into domestic violence as well, because if we start pushing, like if we know somebody's in a domestic violence situation and we start pushing things, then they're going to start pushing back, and maybe they're not ready yet, right?
Yeah.
So I think that ties in together on what you're saying.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm getting.
how many times did people tell you to leave? And I have experience in this. And how many times did people tell you, you need to leave him, you need to leave him? And hundreds of times, like my friends got tired of telling me, like, what are you doing? But the more they push, the more I push back. And I also try to justify the situation and make it seem lighter because people were pushing and pushing so much, you know? So it comes to a point, like Patricia said, they got to make their own decisions, which he has. And that's a beautiful thing. So embrace it and don't let fear control it. And a really, really good, like, I don't know what this is. It's like practice or a meditation. It's like a forgiveness Hawaiian practice that you can do with him, whether you want to say it to him or say it in your own mind. You can say, I love you, I'm sorry, and I forgive you, because I know those are feelings that both of you are experiencing. So I love you, I'm sorry, and I forgive you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. Yeah, I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have more questions? I see that we do have a couple of viewers out there. If you do have your questions, Sasha is watching the line in the chat line to see if you do have something for Barbz. Barbz, I just want to, before we get too far into it or questions come in, thank you for being our first guest on the Free to Fly online conference and fashion show, because this is about the fashions and the confidence and the freedom that we've invited Barbz here so that she can share her information on confidence, because it is so important. And we like to think that the Freebird Project Shop Fashions help with that confidence by making you feel good on the outside, because sometimes you have to trick yourself into feeling good and wear some beautiful things on the outside so that you can start to really nourish that inside. And that's what we have been talking about today, the little things that you can do to nourish your insides. The tips that, if you haven't been watching from the beginning, the tips that Barb has given us begin with 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your time to concentrate on creating that confidence, which is, as Barbz has, so shared with us, that confidence is the beginning of the power over the rest of your life, friends, family, business. Without confidence, it's hard to be a full person and put our full authenticity out there.
Right on.
And so it doesn't look like any questions are coming in at this time. We are at 11:38. We've been going for about 38 minutes now. So if we don't get any questions in, I think that it's about time to wrap it up. But we know that for those of you who are watching later, and if you have a question for Barbz, you can find her at Starland Coaching. And we will make sure that in the comments that we make sure that we have the link to her incredible confidence building workbook that is based on that little monster. And speaking of monsters, if you join us later this evening at 7 p.m., we have Tanuja DeBeer, who is going to teach us how to break up your relationship with sugar monsters. And that is going to be, so, we're talking about building your relationship with yourself through confidence. A little later on today, we'll be talking about breaking that relationship with the sugar monsters. So whether it's the monsters inside your head or the monsters in the sugar, I think it's Monster Day, Thanksgiving Day. And I know that for all our Canadians out there, happy Thanksgiving. And I know that it's inappropriate for us to be eating pie and turkey and all those good things and then give you a presentation on sugar. So if you don't want to watch it tonight, I understand. But make sure that you do get on that list so that you can watch it later, because we really do have to watch that relationship with the sugar. And as we head off and end the day, is there anything that you'd like to add, Barbz, before we sign off?
I always like to thank anyone who watches our interviews, because the fact that you're here, the fact that you're showing up means that you're committed to yourself, you're committed to growing, you're committed to taking your life to the next level. And it takes courage and it takes commitment to show up to events like this where you grow and you learn. So I want to thank you so much for being here. And I want to encourage you to keep doing the work, because you're amazing. Like, you are a one-of-a-kind individual in this world, and you deserve nothing but the best. So thank you. Keep doing the work. And if you need absolutely anything, please reach out to me. I'm always here. I'm always supporting individuals, whether it's via email, Facebook, social media. I'm a social butterfly, so I'm here if you need me, okay?
Awesome. And we will get those social media links put in the comments. Sasha, do you have something to offer?
Yes, just before we go on our YouTube live feed, we did get a comment from Kelly Petrie, and she said that she doesn't have a question, but she wanted to tell us that what we're doing is really awesome, wanted to give us some kudos. So I really just wanted to take a minute to say, hey, thanks so much, Kelly, for having a watch. I know that we've had a couple of other people flitting in and out as we've been doing this, and it's really great to see that we're going to get some people, some great information, and it's fantastic that we've had Barb here today. Barb, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really, really, really glad that we got a chance to do this. It is an absolutely great topic, and it really, I think it'll really speak to a lot of our audience.
Thank you, Sasha. It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
It has been amazing, and I think that it's just going to get more amazing. Barb, of course, was our first guest in the Free to Fly online conference and fashion show. We are sponsored by the freebirdprojectshop.com, where you will find all the modern hippie mama clothes you could ever imagine. And we have flyby fashionistas on site, not all the time. We're not on there now because we're kind of doing this. But at other times, you can tap us to find out exactly what you might want to be shopping for. You know, if you've got a big event coming up and you're not sure what to choose from, the Flyby Fashionistas can help you there. And thanks so much for joining us, and thank you so much for being with us. To the audience out there, goodbye until tonight. I hope you will join us to find out how to break up that relationship with the sugar mamas and the sugar monsters, not the sugar mamas. That might be another topic for another day. In the meantime, we do have a full slate lineup tomorrow with Leslie, who's going to be talking on work at home. And we've got Sohaila, who is going to be talking about, she's an amazing dancer. Okay, so you've got to, check out the freebirdproject.org to see who is coming up on the roster. We have over 30 speakers over the next 45 days, and it is going to only get better from here. Thanks so much, and we'll see everyone in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.